what is expected out of NASA doing testing for the FAA? How is it structured, and who is it targeted for?
So we're not actually, we're doing testing for the community. So in some ways, it ends up the body of evidence that we collect through our testing will go to the FAA. But it's really to try to enable access. And while the FAA is the regulator and the ultimate authority, a lot of the things that we do have to go through the industry side first, particularly on the standard side. So the UAS access is a community problem. It requires a community solution. That means not just the FAA, not just government entities, but the whole community. And that includes industry, and it includes the international community. Yeah. If we develop requirements that can be met in the United States that wouldn't apply globally, then we won't be able to fly our aircraft globally. So what we're doing in this project is not only working vigorously with other government agencies, particularly the FAA, but the DoD and DHS as well, on helping develop the technologies. We're also working with industry in the United States to understand how the requirements could be met and whether or not they're reasonable requirements for things like the equipage, and dealing with the international communities from the standards perspective to make sure that what we're doing is harmonious with what's going on internationally. So it's really an entire community effort, and it's not we have to come up with solutions, requirements, etc. This body of evidence has to be applicable across the entire spectrum. So we are dealing quite a bit with the industry in the United States and with the international community.
Would you say that the International Civil Aviation Organization is kind of pretty much at the top, right? Pretty
much. So ICAO is where a lot of the standards get developed. It's where the international community generally goes. They're not the service provider, so and in terms of, we've got the Joint Planning and Development Office, the JPDO, looking at next gen. They've got a counterpart called CESAR, so that's not really under ICAO. But ICAO is really where the standards come out from, and that's the community of interest that we are dealing with to the greatest extent. So the International Telecommunications Union for the communications work, specifically ICAO, and they've got a UAS study group, and they've got a number of different pieces and parts of ICAO that are important to us and that are important to the UAS community within the United States.
Does it look like a lot of people are interested in a test site out here?
There's definitely interest. So at NASA, we're sort of staying arm's length. In the project, we're probably going to help the FAA determine what the criteria is for those test ranges. We've been working with them on that. So we have to stay arm's length, but the centers themselves are mostly staying arm's length because this is really supposed to be a community coming together and coming up with a business case, etc. So I know that there is a interest in California for setting up one of the test sites, somewhat locally to where we are at Dryden, but we really haven't been heavily engaged in trying to work that with them. But that's throughout the country. NASA's been approached by various local organizations to try to team with them on the test ranges, and we're really trying to stay more arm's length. Once the test ranges are stood up, if there's an opportunity to for us to collaborate with them, then we'll consider that at that time.